Hey everybody, Jay Young here, the Jay Young Show, and I have my co-host, Jordan Soto. Hey Jordan, how are
I
you
was
doing
like,
today?
finish the word there, Jay.
I know,
We can't we can't not have the rest of that word there.
Hey, happy holiday season, Merry Christmas, holidays, and all that.
Yes.
You look like you're not at your normal home. Where are you today?
I am in good old Pensacola. I went and stopped and got some boiled peanuts, as I usually do in the good old South panhandle.
You have what again? What was that? Boiled peanuts?
Boiled peanuts, they're the best. They are my guilty pleasure. Every time I come to Pensacola, I always get some. The Cajun
Wow,
boiled peanuts. You can't get the regular ones. They're just salty nonsense, but the Cajun ones are spicy, wonderful delights.
wow. I've never heard of boiled peanuts before. I guess I've never been to Pensacola, I guess, but I've never been there. You can tell because
Oh
I
my gosh.
only weigh 220. If I had them, I'd probably weigh 260, right? Whatever was
Actually,
that, but
they're a no carb snack.
really,
So,
wow,
mhm,
wow. And they boil
just
them.
a lot of sodium.
They boil
Just a
these
lot of
peanuts.
sodium.
Yeah, I bet they
Oh,
are.
they're so good.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, they're the best.
salty, not
Well, I'll
salty.
I'll get you a can. I'll get you a can. I'll
Oh,
ship it to you. It'll be your Christmas present. There you
please
go.
do.
Don't
Thank
say I
you. I
didn't do
appreciate
nothing.
that. I can't wait. I'm gonna be sitting waiting on my doorstep, waiting. Because today it's so easy to order things. It's so you can order things and it's just like my daughter said this the other day. She goes, Daddy, I was just amazed at how easy it is to order things on Amazon. And I said, well, make sure you use your account, not mine. But it's like, and on TikTok's the same way. My wife gets mad at me because I'll buy
Oh
things on
yeah.
TikTok. But it's like, click, and it's coming to your doorstep. And you
Talk.
may,
What is it? TikTok Shop or something
yeah,
or whatever it's called. Like
exactly,
it. I'm
exactly.
telling you, that is like the new era of one, marketing, and two, e-commerce.
Yeah,
Like being able to have that super one click. And I also think that platforms are emphasizing staying within the app to do all of the things that you're wanting to do, whether that's finding, instead of Google Maps, using like Instagram to find places to go and eat, or TikTok, instead of going to Amazon, you just buy right there. Like
right.
it's interesting because it does feel like it's getting more centralized,
Mm-hmm.
even though I don't know how good that is for our pocketbooks.
Well, I think it's gonna be better for your pocketbook, but it's
for
just a one
for
stop.
ours,
It's a one stop
Jay, I
shop.
don't know if your wife keeps going on TikTok
Oh,
Shop, you might not have any money left.
I've got $200 a month that I can buy things and she can't say one word, right? And
Oh, okay.
I'm spending like 100 right now, but if I go over $200, she can start saying things again because she used to go, "Oh my gosh, what did you buy? What did you buy? When's it coming?" I mean, it's like that took over our whole conversations, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, wait a minute! I bought a battery operated, or I got a speaker that I could use in the office, so when we're having meetings,
Mhm.
I can play music or whatever the case." And I have to explain myself for this $37 purchase, and I'm like, I've got a lot of things going on right now, and I really don't have a lot of time to sit here and go over this over and over and over again. But she
Mhm.
felt like, that's more important than drilling a $12 million well for some reason. But I'm like, I'm busy. I don't have time. So I said, okay, I get $200 a month. Period. End of
There you
story.
go.
I don't have to answer your
Well, what's
questions.
her limit?
Yeah. I don't
You're
see what
like,
she
that doesn't
buys.
exist.
I don't see what she buys. And I don't really,
Oh,
I know. She just has I guess she has the limit, or she just doesn't really have a limit.
she she
That's what I asked her
she
too, but she goes, "Well, if you want to track all my spending," I'm like, "No, no, no, no,
Oh, no,
no, no,
no, no, no,
no,
no.
no. I'm just going to go drill a
I don't
twelve
want to
million
have
dollar well."
conversations
Yeah,
about that.
unbelievable. It is really unbelievable, and I don't want to spend my time and effort doing that. But she decides that's important to her, so I just have to try
Yes.
to. I try to keep my boundaries, right? I try to have boundaries, because
Yes.
you can spend all your time thinking about that, and then she gets my daughter involved. Right. And then
Oh
she
no,
thought,
you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
do
It's like,
that.
Daddy, what did you buy on TikTok? And I go, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I I bought a
Yeah, I bought this
battery. Yeah.
$37, guys.
Speaker, and it charges your phone for you, and it's
Oh wow,
loud.
it's like a whole thing.
I know, it's unbelievable, but I don't think I've ever used it yet. But I'm going to, and
Oh,
that's what
Jay,
she's going to
now.
make sure. No, I know. Sitting at home, and she looked at it. Yeah, get this. So, matter of fact, this weekend she looked at it on the kitchen table, and she goes, "Okay, now let's just see how long that sits here on the kitchen table." And guess what? It's still there. I know.
Oh,
It's still there. My
just put
fault.
it in your bag that you bring to work.
I know. I've got to do that tonight. I got to
You
set
got to do it
myself an
tonight.
alarm.
I'll text you and remind you.
Please do. Yeah. I need to set an alarm.
We're gonna figure this out.
I need to set an alarm. Everything. Yeah. Because I'm creating this myself. You know what I'm doing? I'm creating this excitement that she has with her getting all fuzzy about a $37 charger. I'm creating it because I'm not using it, and I'm a target. I'm targeting myself.
You're making it too easy. Is what's happening.
I am. I'm just putting a target right there on my forehead. Bang! Right there.
There you are. Yes. Yes.
Man, unbelievable. Okay, I'm sorry. We kind of got off.
No, that's totally fine. Those are
Yeah.
conversations that we don't really want to revisit. How much did the wife spend? But a conversation that we do want to revisit is actually one that we had interviewed this person a little while ago, and this is worth revisiting.
Definitely
Jay?
worth revisiting. Reid Ryan, an incredible friend of mine. First played golf with him about 15 years ago. About 15 years ago, I played golf with him. And, I mean, his dad's a legend. I mean, there's not many legends in the world these days that you really go, man, I really look up to that guy. But Nolan Ryan, without a doubt, is definitely a legend. And it's his dad, Reid. Reid's dad is a legend. I mean, Nolan Ryan, there's probably more kids in the world named after him than any other athlete in the country, I would imagine. I've never Googled it, and maybe we need to do that. We need to Google.
Bring out the perplexity.
I know. Where's the perplexity? Let's do it. Let's do it right now. Perplexity. Let's.
Do you think that they have a survey that says that? Maybe they do. I wouldn't doubt it.
Okay, help me ask this question. Which celebrity athlete influenced parents to name their children?
That's a good question.
Let's see.
Look at us. We're learning and growing as time has gone.
I know we're supposed to be getting to Reid Ryan.
I'm proud of us.
I'm
proud of us.
Kobe Bryant, Nadia. Well, let's go back to the 70s or 80s. We got to go back to the 70s.
That also makes our question more clear.
I know it does. It does. Okay, let's just say that we do have a lot of people. Tom Brady, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of people.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, I guess Tom Brady, they would have influenced like Tom and Brady. Right?
Yeah, that's true. Brady. Anyway, let's talk about Reid Ryan. So we get back to him.
Yes.
We love him, and he's a really
leadership,
great friend.
legacy, building something that lasts.
Yes.
Great interview.
This interview recorded 5 years ago. I called Reid and I said, "Hey, would you do an interview on the Jay Young Show?" And he said, "I'd love to." And I said, "What about those trash cans? You guys got banned almost from knocking on trash cans because you're reading the signals from the pitcher to the catcher. And would you talk about it?" And he goes, "I'd love to." Jay, no holds barred. Let's do it. So we did, and this guy is unbelievable. And but in this conversation, he shares growing up in a baseball family, moving constantly with his dad's career. He's with the Angels, the Rangers, the Astros, and I don't know if anybody else. The Mets. He was with the '69 Mets. I remember back in the World Series, went to World Series back in 2010-11 with the Rangers, and Nolan said, "Yeah, well, my first year in the majors, I was with the Mets, and we went to the World Series." And I'm like, "You did? I didn't even know that." But anyway, there's a lot of things you don't know about Nolan Ryan. But in 1969, he did go to the World Series with the Mets, and I think they lost, but he had a good pitch. But anyway, so let's see here. We talk about work ethic. I can't believe the work ethic of Nolan Ryan. The humility, what it really means to maximize the gift you've been given. We also get into Reid's journey beyond the field, from playing college and professional baseball to founding and building some of the most successful minor league franchises in the country, including Round Rock Express and Corpus Christi Hooks. Later, his time as the Houston Astros. Now, not a lot of people know this. Not a lot of people know this, Jordan. I mean, I'm going to tell you something that not a lot of people know. But
Okay.
when Nolan and Reid were at the Texas Rangers back in 2010, 11, and 12, Nolan wanted his son Reid to be the president of the Texas Rangers. And Bob Simpson and Ray Davis, the two major owners, wouldn't have anything about it. They're like, nope, we're not going to do that. Nolan, just because he's your son doesn't mean that he'll be a good president. And so Nolan and Ray Davis, who was the majority owner at this time because Bob had sold down some of his shares, and Ray had more equity than anybody else in the Rangers at that time. But Ray said, no, I don't think we want him to be the president. And everybody thought it was a great idea except for Ray and maybe Bob. I don't know. I mean, maybe the board had some say so as well, but I can't believe they wouldn't love Reid. So anyway, that caused a big friction in between the Texas Rangers and Nolan Ryan. They thought that they were better than Nolan Ryan at baseball. So Nolan Ryan, after the Rangers went to the World Series 2 years in a row, 2010 and 11. Were you born then, Jordan? Close? Barely? Oh, yeah, barely. But anyway,
2010?
Yeah, you were 10.
I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh,
get out of here.
Wow. were you were born in 2000, 1995? I mean, 1995. 96, 97.
1993.
93. Oh, there you go. All right.
That was the year that they built the Rockies Stadium.
Oh, was it really?
Colorado Rockies.
There you go. Man, I've seen that stadium. I've never been in it. I'd love to be in it sometime.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's really great. Mm-hmm.
But
Okay,
anyway,
continue your story. Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, so Nolan thought, I think my son should be the president of the Texas Rangers, and Ray Davis and those guys had nothing to do with it. Caused a friction. That and a lot of other. There were some other things too. But anyway, so Nolan ends up taking his stuff and going down to Houston with Jim Crane and becoming a consultant to Jim Crane, and then Jim Crane had just bought the Astros, and then Nolan got with Jim Crane, went down there, and he was a contributor. He was a consultant for Jim, but also his son became the president of the Houston Astros, and they won a World Series with Reid Ryan. The Rangers couldn't win a World Series, but the Astros
They didn't have
did.
Reid Ryan.
I know, exactly. You gotta love Reid Ryan. Love Reid Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Love Reid, Ruth, Nolan. I got some great stories about them. We can say some other time, but I've got really great stories. I love them. But anyway, what makes this interview special is that it's not just about baseball. It's about leadership, resilience, family, and momentum over the long haul. And I tell you, their family is just as tight and good to everybody. So it's unbelievable. So this interview is unbelievable, and I'm really looking forward to you listening to the interview right here, right now. Jordan, let's go to the interview, and then we'll be back afterwards. Reid, welcome to the program today.
Well, thank you, Jay. I'm glad to be here, man. This is incredible. Doing a little podcast.
Hey, absolutely. Quarantining and all that from home or home office or whatever. It's a great day, and I tell you what, I mean, we need some baseball. Don't we need some Astros?
We do.
Man.
I'll tell you what, we need baseball in general. I think all of America is looking. They want something live. They want to get back. They want something at home to watch. It's been Groundhog Day too long, and so we definitely need baseball back. And there's a lot of talk right now. The players union and in Major League Baseball are meeting now, and I'm hoping that we can get this thing restarted. Kind of spring training maybe in June and season by the start of July.
Wow, that's exciting. I mean, I know I was watching them tossing those bean bags onto the corn
Oh,
holing.
cornhole.
Yeah. I was watching that on Saturday, and then about 8 or 9 o'clock, the Korean baseball league came on. No people in the stands, but I started watching them. I kind of got tired of watching it, because it's obviously a different time zone. But man,
Yeah.
we do need baseball. Hey,
You know
so
what's interesting about baseball is it's kind of the backdrop of summer, and it's a daily addiction. And you end up following your guy. What did Jose Altuve do, or what did Elvis Andrus do, or whoever your guy is, and you miss that. It's kind of like not having your coffee in the morning.
yeah. No, that's true. I was thinking about that because my mother-in-law loves watching the Rangers, and we have
Yeah.
it on every night. We're watching it, and she'll come in and she goes to bed early. So those West Coast games, she's like, "So who won last night?" And just something for us to talk about, and which is great. So it definitely is missed. So hopefully we'll get there soon. We'll talk more about the Houston Astros. We'll talk more about the baseball season as we go on. And first of all, I know that I am just so admire you a lot about yourself and where you are, and your upbringing, and your mom and your dad. And first off, as you know, and we're good friends with Bob Bodine. Bob and I had our last podcast, and Bob's picture of your dad. If we just show, here's back here in the back here, we've got the Nolan Ryan picture of your dad, at the little skirmish, I guess, as he had. Bob Bodine had the same picture on his wall, but
I've got one too.
it was from the other direction. It was like somebody was on first base, took the picture, somebody on third base took the picture, and your dad was nice enough to sign both of them. So, man, it's just a great picture. But Bob, it was really weird that Bob and I had the same picture.
That's pretty cool.
So tell me more about. I want to talk about, because I mean, you are the guy that and you're so kind, and you don't really. I don't say you don't really have to be, but you're one of those guys that man. I mean, we talk all the time, and I come down, and you've been very kind to me at Astros games, and taking me down and all, and you don't really have to be that guy because of your upbringing and your dad. I mean, your dad is one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Played baseball for how many years? I mean,
27 in the major leagues. Yeah.
27 years in the major leagues. I mean, and it just takes people to a new level. And growing up, tell me more about growing up in for yourself, and tell me where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I tell folks I kind of had every kid's dream. I was born in Houston. My dad was a member of the New York Mets back then. He actually broke into the big leagues in 1965 as a 19-year-old. And, 1966. He was drafted in 65. He was on the 69 Mets. And I was born in the offseason of 71. And he actually got traded shortly after I was born to the California Angels. And so our normal routine, Jay, was when spring training came in February, we would pack up, we'd go to Arizona, we'd stay there until April, and then we'd move to our house in Anaheim, Orange County area, and we'd stay there till October. We'd come back to Texas, and we'd do it all over again. And so I was always changing schools and meeting new kids. I grew up with, the Alomar brothers, the Bonds brothers, those guys from the Angels. And then in 1980, my dad signed with the Houston Astros, which meant we lived in Texas. We were, south of Houston and Alvin, a small town about 30 miles from Houston. And we lived here kind of, year round through the 80s. And then he signed with the Rangers in 89. And at that point, I had my own career going and was getting looked at by college, programs, getting recruited. So I pretty much stayed in Houston and kind of played my sports, and then went off to the University of Texas. And then from there, I transferred to TCU, and then got into playing minor league baseball after that.
Wow. One thing that, I talked to your mom, I talked to your dad, and Nolan's a good friend, and we talked about his first World Series with the Mets, and then me and him went to through that deal with the Rangers going to the World Series, and unfortunate that we went to the World Series, but that's about as far as we went. We almost Game 7. We were there together anyway, but and I really admire your mom, and I'm assuming that's what really kept you grounded because, man, I mean, here you are, you're all over the place, and you turned out so great. I don't know your sister, but I know Reese, and I've had lunch with Reese and good friends with him, and you, and is that what kept you grounded? Is your mom?
Yeah, Jay, I have an incredible mom and I have an incredible dad. And my mom was great because she really had to be kind of mom and dad in one, as much as my dad was traveling. I don't think people, unless they're big sports fans, realize, when you're in baseball, you leave home at the end of February and you don't get home really to the start of November or October, depending on if you're in the playoffs or not. And so two things. One, we grew up in Texas. We were in a small town. And so the people in Alvin back in the 70s really wasn't until 1980. There wasn't ESPN. There weren't games on all the time. My dad was a baseball player like my other buddies' dads worked at the plant or were a lawyer or whatever. And so my dad always said, look, just because I play baseball doesn't make you any better than anybody else. We're all the same. And I think that's a gift he gave me, is that I've always treated everybody the exact same. And then my mom is such a people person. She was just a big believer that, in life, you make friends, you keep friends, you treat people like you want to be treated, and you just treat everybody right. And I think it comes from Texas values, my mom, my dad, Alvin values, and just I think being able to realize that what we were getting to do as kids was pretty special, and we should be thankful for that.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's incredible. I mean, because anybody that is in baseball knows Nolan Ryan and knows how
Mm-hmm.
7 strike and all that, just incredible career, and would love to be in those shoes. And even though you are in those shoes, I don't know. I mean, if you polled 90% of the kids, and I'm not saying that every great all-star kids are bad, but I'm just saying that man, it's quite a bit to get grounded as much as you have, and to appreciate that, and to say, yeah, we're just like everybody else. My dad goes to the office, and my dad goes to the baseball field, and even though he's one of the, I mean, Nolan can't go anywhere without somebody knowing who he is. Still.
Well, I think my grandma had a lot to do with that too, Jay. My dad is the youngest of 6 kids, and Depression era parents. They both, my grandpa, who died before I was born, worked 2 jobs, smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day, and basically worked himself to death. But he wanted all his kids to have a better opportunity than what he had. And so out of the 6 Ryan siblings, with my dad being the youngest, he's the only one that didn't go to college, that didn't get some kind of master's or doctorate, and didn't become a teacher. All the rest of them were either college professors or teachers of various types over the years. And my grandma would always say, hey, I'm proud of all my kids. Somebody would come up and say, aren't you proud of your son? She'd go, I'm proud of all my kids. And she would roll off all the things that the other 5 had done. And so I think that grounding as well, that look, God gives us all our own unique skills. And, the hand I'm dealt is not the hand that my brother's dealt or my sister. We're all different. And the goal is to try to get the most out of what you've been given. And so that's the thing I think from my dad's career that I took away the most was I don't think there's ever been anybody that had the God-given ability that he had and then was able to maximize it. I mean, 27 years, guys, most of them, they don't want to work that hard for that long, or they take a day off. He never really took a day off during that time. And I think that goes back to his father in the Depression era, sort of morals that he grew up with. And so I think it ended up, making him a great player and obviously a great example for us to follow.
Yeah. I mean, even I know a friend of mine. You pitched at TCU, and Jeremy Baker's a good friend of mine that worked for me for years.
Yep.
His brother, you pitched with his brother Jeff, and Jeff would come down to the ranch in Alvin, and your dad will be down there just working y'all. I mean, it's not like it's not easy, right? I mean, to be the premier athlete like that, it's not easy, and work ethic was obviously very, very important in the Ryan household.
Well, I think it was, and look, it's fun too. If you do what you enjoy, then it's really not work. And that's why I've stayed in the game of baseball because I enjoy it so much and it's fun. But the satisfaction of having a goal, putting in the work and achieving that goal, or even if you come up short of that goal, knowing that you gave it your best effort. And, I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. I didn't have the God-given ability that my dad had. I was fortunate enough to get to play in college, play professionally. But, I didn't make it to the major leagues. And where a lot of times people feel like they're a failure for really putting a goal out there and not achieving it, my dad made me feel great. He said, hey, look at every kid you played Little League Baseball with. How many ended up, going on to play in high school and be all district? How many ended up going on to be in college and play? How many ended up being all conference? How many got drafted? How many got the, A ball and so on? And so when you look at it, I really maximized my God-given ability on the field, and I left the game of baseball feeling really good about what I had accomplished and knowing that I had a love for this game and that the game needed more people like me in it to be able to take that passion and that appreciation and love of the game and try to grow it and benefit the business. And so that's what I did once I got out.
Wow, wow! But you decided to stay in the game. I mean, so when did you start? Because as I met you, I don't think you were involved in the game as much, or you were running with your minor league teams at that point. But then, when did you start? So you graduated. Let me see. Would it be in '95?
Yeah. Ended up graduating in '95. Played a couple years. Got released. Actually signed in '94, so I had to go back and get my degree in the off season. But played '94, '95, and '96. Got released. And ended up working for the Rangers for 1 year, and then I decided to go out and start my own team. And when I had gone to the University of Texas, they had tried to move a AAA team into Austin, the Phoenix Firebirds, because the Arizona Diamondbacks were coming into Phoenix, so the AAA team was going to move. And it ended up not happening. But at the time, as a player in the market, obviously I was interested. And so one night I was at the ballpark in Arlington working for the Rangers, and I just kind of had this epiphany, like, you know what? I'm going to go to Austin and just start my own team. And so I started doing some research using my connections within the game. I was able to raise some money, found a club in Jackson, Mississippi that happened to be the Astros AA club that the owner was wanting to sell, and ended up getting a business partner and a guy named Don Sanders, who had been one of the limited partners with the Astros when my dad played for him. And then my dad, they co-signed on a note for me and put money in the deal, and we were able to buy the Jackson Generals, and I was able to get a stadium passed in Round Rock. We had an election in '98. We were able to get naming rights sold to Dell and move the franchise, built the stadium, and became one of the most successful minor league stadiums in the country. And then I took that AA team to AAA in 2005. And I built and kind of redid the same deal in Corpus Christi during that time. So really from '98 until, kind of '08 when my dad, and you guys put together that group, I had built and designed 2 stadiums and started 2 teams. So I had been nothing but in the game of baseball for a decade, and really was behind the scenes helping him till he was able to get the deal put together with all you guys.
Wow, no, that's incredible. So how much money do you think you started with in on the Jackson team? How much money did it cost, and how much money do you think it's worth today?
Yeah, well, so pretty interesting story. So to buy the club in 1998 was $5 million, and I really didn't have any money at all. So those guys, like I said, co-signed on a note for me. and I got some sweat equity in the deal, and we ended up buying the club for $5 million bucks.
Okay.
And like anything in life, I think, you know, nothing is easy. Nothing goes as planned. We're seeing it right now in the midst of this coronavirus. How many of us had plans that were suddenly flushed down the drain, and now we're doing, you know, Zoom calls and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So if everybody remembers the Y2K kind of tech bubble, our original deal was we were going to build a $15 million stadium at the end of 1998, 99. It's going to be half financed by hotel motel tax in the city of Round Rock and half financed by us with traditional bank debt. And so we got into this process, and we had two things. One, we had a group of citizens pass an initiative referendum on us, where basically they take the power of the city council away, put it to a vote of the people. And so that cost us a lot of time, impacted our construction schedule. And then you had this tech boom, bubble, and bust that yo-yoed a lot of our construction costs. So our $15 million stadium went to like a $35 million stadium.
Wow.
And so we ended up having to cover all the overage. So we did that. And, you know, luckily for us, we went really with the gold standard, and we've knocked it out of the ballpark. And what is our club worth today? I don't know what Forbes has it, but I mean, it's probably minimum of $50 million asset because of one of the market, two of the stadium that we have in 20 years of operating history. But we're not looking to sell it, and it's just been nice to have something that, you know, has employed so many people, brought so much joy to Central Texas, and really our success in Round Rock, Jay, enabled us to build a new stadium in Corpus, and in Frisco they built a new stadium, and in Midland and in El Paso, and, you know, Northwest Arkansas and Little Rock and Tulsa, and all these places around kind of the Southwest followed our model, and we really, in a lot of ways, changed the game and raised the stakes for what was a minor league team.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really important. I mean, obviously the farm system, and I know looking down in the clubhouse there in the Rangers, you see the amount of teams that are underneath one major league team and the reach they have out in the Dominican Republic and all the different countries. And man, I mean, to be one of those 9 players on the field, I mean, you're a special person. I mean, you are definitely, you're gifted, you worked hard. I mean, it's tough to be one of those 9 people because there is no telling how many people right underneath you that want your spot and want you to. I mean, if you mess up or something, I mean, it's just an incredible depth that they have, but they need that. I mean, we'll talk about the Astros' success in a minute and how successful that team has been. But that's incredible. I mean, I've been to the Dell Stadium. I love that thing. I mean, I know that Don Sanders and you know, is also a partner, you know, with and other businesses, which is great, and just a good guy, good relationship you guys have, and so with the Dell, I mean, does it generate pretty good money? I mean, the double A or I guess it's triple A now. Round Rock.
Yeah. So, I mean, like anything in life, you know, our success has driven up the cost and the values of the other clubs. And so, look, it's a nice business because our basis is pretty low. But with people having some of these franchise values, you know, as high as, you know, 30, 40, $50 million, you know, Vegas has a brand new stadium. They're doing really well at the AAA level. And I think a lot of people can come in and have a good year, but it's really what I'm pride ourselves on is we've been able to sustain success. Mm-hmm. And to sustain success, you really have to put a lot of the money back into the facility and back into the community. And you have your opportunity, just like you did with the Rangers, to really make your money when you sell. And to us, it's a lifestyle. We're not really into selling our club. We have a lot of other businesses that are around the stadium. We own a bank in the Austin market that my brother and I and some guys started back over, 2008. So that was 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I guess now. And so we do a lot of stuff around the team with the bank and have customers out there. We have a turf services company where we build high school, college, professional fields around the country. That's based out of there. We have a concession company called RS3. We do the Circuit of the Americas. We do the Dallas Stars centers up in the Metroplex. We do the Dallas Stars AAA facility in the Austin market, the HEB Center. We do some minor league baseball teams around the country. And so we've grown those businesses out of the success of the Round Rock Express. And so for us, it's our way to be in the game of baseball, Jay, and being in the game of baseball helps us with our other businesses.
Yeah, yeah. Boy, talk about a love of baseball, man. You guys have done it. And then, getting back to your family real quick. Your son pitched. Your son pitched and has cerebral palsy. I mean, can you talk about that a little bit? I love this story. I mean, this is such
yeah.
a story.
Yeah, happy to. So you know what? I have a son named Jackson Ryan. He is a sophomore at the University of Mary Hardin Baylor, and he was born with cerebral palsy. And my wife was a Division I basketball player, full ride scholarship at TCU. That's where we met, and we both really are grinders and Type A personalities. And we're playing, dominoes. We both want to win, and I think that's what attracted me to her. So we had the real possibility of being the real asshole parents, Jay, like pushing our kids to be the best. And I think sometimes God, like I said before, just says, hey, it's not your plan, it's my plan. And so we were born with a son who has cerebral palsy, which means somewhere in utero he had a stroke. And just like an adult that has a stroke, his is on the right side of his body. His right side is affected. So when he came out, we didn't quite know what was wrong. He wasn't breathing right, and he had to go to intensive care. We did a bunch of tests, and they basically come back and say, look, he may never walk, talk. They give you the worst of everything. Mm. So we just looked at it as, hey, look, if anybody's going to be born with a son with cerebral palsy, we have the resources and the ability to care for this child. And we just decided we weren't going to treat him any different than any other kid. And so over the years, we were in Round Rock, Austin area until we moved to Houston when he was 13 years old. We probably went to a therapist in San Antonio every other day from the time he was 2 till he was 13. Oh. And that's a 70-mile drive one way. We just put everything we had into trying to have him be the most normal kid. We had, stem cells that we saved from the umbilical cord. We had a heel cord surgery. We had a hyperbaric chamber. Man, you name it, we kind of tried it. And lo and behold, he is an incredible athlete. He really played baseball because basketball, at a certain level, you got to be able to dribble with both hands, and he doesn't have any motor skills in his right hand. So he throws and catches like Jim Abbott, where he would put the glove underneath his arm and throw, and could not throw real hard because his leg also was affected, and so his ability to weight shift wasn't great. But he's so coordinated, he could master throwing strikes. And so he was a high school player. He went to Division III, University of Mary Hardin Baylor. He played 1 year, and this year he decided he wanted to be a volunteer student assistant coach. And they made him kind of the bullpen coach. So he's got a deep love of the game of baseball. He got to play college, got to play high school, and he's a guy that wants to be a general manager one day. He doesn't want to be like me. He doesn't want to be on the business side or be a president of a team. He wants to be a general manager, and he's getting after it and working with the Kansas City Royals right now, doing some stuff with them, and he's doing great. So I'm really proud of him.
That's great. That's great. I mean, I know you have. 2 other kids, daughters, and which yep. is what I want to talk about, but just a great story for him because, man, I mean, because you could, at that point, you and Nicole could say, okay, he's got cerebral palsy and just kind of let it go. I mean, there's a decision you had to make.
The next kid.
And just kind of think, okay, well, I mean, it is what it is, and treat him as that. I mean, there's a Zig Ziglar story somewhere that's coming back to me now, but there's a Zig Ziglar story about somebody that did not treat their kid like all the other cerebral palsy kids. They do it different. That's exactly what you guys decided to do. So That's really, really great. Love that.
Well, it was a blessing to realize that he cognitively was fine, and that, he was born with a whole different set of gifts than what Nicole and I were born with. Now, my two daughters, I've got one that's graduating. She's one of these Corona class kids that, it's kind of had her whole senior year flushed away. But she's going to go to Texas A&M, and she's an incredible kid, great student. She's going to be in the Mays Honors Business Program over there, and she was an all-state basketball player and decided not to play in college. And then I have a freshman who is freshman was started all the varsity sports and got to play and was a varsity cheerleader. So those two have got it going really well, and it's fun to watch them go.
Wow, that's great. That's great. And so you live in Houston now.
I am, yeah. So I moved to Houston in 2013 when I became the president of the Houston Astros. This 2020 season, whether we have one or not, we'll have to see. I'm transitioning out of the presidency role into an executive advisor role. Our owner, Jim Crane, is bringing his son in, and the two of them are really kind of taking over the operations. And it's been a great run. We're committed to staying here until my youngest daughter gets out of school. And then at that, I don't know if I'll go back to Austin or do something different. I'm just a big believer, Jay, that life's about chapters. And this has been an incredible chapter. And as I'm nearing 48 years old right now, I know the next chapter will be really fun. And I don't know if I want it to be the same chapter that it was for the 40s. So we're going to figure it out. But we need to get through this pandemic first and figure out what's the next step for us.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Astros a little bit, because I do want to get into that, last chapter of your life, or not last chapter. You're going to have 15 chapters, but your next. Let's talk about your next chapter. So we'll talk about that in just a minute, but let's talk about the Astros a little bit, because we had man, you had a great run there. I know that in 2013 you became, I guess, for the 2013 season, you became the president. So you were the president of the Astros, is that right?
Yes, I came in 2013 as the president of business operations, and I was the president of the team the year we won the World Series in 2017, as well as in 18 and 19. So 17, 18, 19 were pretty incredible. 2 World Series. We went to the American League Championship and lost. And in fact, really, we made the playoffs in 2015. So 4 of the 5 years, from 2015 to 2019, whoever won our series at Minute Maid won the World Series. We got beat by the Royals in 15. They won. We won in 17. Red Sox beat us at home in 18. They won it. And then obviously the Nationals in Game 7 last year. So it was quite a run. My job really was to come in and build the business plan that was going to enable us to put a winning product on the field. And then handle, the league, the broadcasting, all of our employees, the fans, our sponsors. And it was really fun. It was one of these things that when you're doing it, you're really just spinning plates, and you're getting as many plates spinning as you can and just trying to make sure none of them fall. And we did a good job. We had a great team put together. I'm a big believer that you hire good people and you get out of their way and let them do their job. A lot of autonomy with my direct reports, and I think it was a great environment for these people to grow in, and we had some unprecedented success. We were in the mid-20s when I got here in 13 in revenue, and we ended up last year 5th in all of baseball, and that's really behind the big boys of the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Cubs, and the Dodgers. And so to be 5th in baseball in revenue, and to break a couple thresholds that people never thought Houston, Texas would be able to do, brought a lot of joy and satisfaction to me.
I know, but man, my gosh, in the early 2000s, you didn't even really hear about the Astros. Unless they put a bad product on the field. There wasn't really a good team on the field until you. I'm not going to say you are the one that did it, but you're the one that did it. You and your people and.
Well,
they sold. When did Crane take over?
Yeah, so Jim really deserves the credit. Jim bought the club in 2011 and came in with a business plan in 2012 to basically tear the organization down to the studs. And few owners, I think, have the intestinal fortitude to be able to do that. So Jim deserves all the credit for coming up with a plan to be able to do that. And then he
There you
did a
are
couple
again,
things.
There you are again, being so humble and all that. There's Reid Ryan,
Well,
just there at his best.
now,
That's him.
but it's true. But then he also brought in our general manager, a guy named Jeff Luno, who came in and made a lot of tough decisions. Nobody likes the guy that's trading away big league talent for draft picks and prospects, and he was able to do that. Made a lot of really tough decisions, unpopular decisions, but those decisions really enabled us to be able to have a clean slate. A lot of draft picks, a lot of prospects, and then I was able to come in and get this business plan and really connect with the community and for them to buy into the vision of what Jim and Jeff were doing. And that really got us going down the right road. And I think the final piece of the puzzle for us was bringing in AJ Hinch, our manager, who really, made it happen on the field for us and had, 5 years of just incredible success on the field. Now, obviously, all of that's changed. I'm still here this season. Jim's still here. Jeff is gone. AJ's gone because of the sign stealing scandal that happened within baseball. And a lot of people, 2017, the Astros have kind of become public enemy number one for really what was sort of the crossroads of technology and sort of old school, sign stealing. And I think people hear sign stealing scandal, excuse me, Jay, and they don't realize it's legal to steal signs. It's been going on forever. Coaches are doing it. Guys on second base are doing it. People are doing it all the time, and you can still do it. It's part of the game. I mean, almost no different than a linebacker seeing that the quarterback is tipping something and they're going to have a pass play and him signaling, to guys that it's going to be a pass or a run. Where the industry kind of got turned on its head was when technology got so good that these high-speed cameras, and whether it was people with Apple Watches or having monitors in the dugout or some type of technology, were able to do things in real time. And so in 2017, the commissioner came out basically with a memo that said, it was in August or September, basically, the league, this is rampant, you need to stop it, and whoever doesn't stop it, I'm going to come in with a hammer and make an example of you. And unfortunately, our guys didn't stop. And the example was that Jeff and AJ lost their jobs and that the Astros were stripped of draft picks. They were fined money, and so ended up publicly, like I said, kind of being public enemy number one across the game of baseball. And so that was unfortunate because these players, man, they did so much to go from worst to first that something like this, it's not indicative of what the uphill fight was to get from the very bottom to the very top. And so I hate that it stained those guys, but like our game of baseball, there's all kinds of chapters in this game, and I think this era will be known as kind of the electronic era, really from the Red Sox in 18 and us in 17 and a lot of the other teams that were doing it as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how big of an advantage is that? I mean, is that a big advantage?
Well, I mean, I think if it wasn't an advantage, people probably wouldn't try to do it. So let's just be honest. Like, if it wasn't an advantage, people wouldn't try to do it. Yeah. I think, you still have to be able to hit guys throwing 100 miles an hour with exploding breaking stuff. And I always said, knowing a sign doesn't guarantee success. So there's no guarantee that, you're going to be able to hit the pitch anyway and square it up. But I think, does it give someone peace of mind in the plate, a little more confidence? It probably does. But it's so funny because when my dad played, he's like, oh, people would steal signs with binoculars. They do all this stuff. And he goes, what we do? We'd have the catcher put down two, and then I'd throw a fastball right here and knock them on their ass, and then they wouldn't steal another sign. So, there's still ways to combat that. And what I find interesting is the game really policed itself in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. Yeah. And I think once the money got so big that the office tries to police the game, then you get all these people doing these things. And I think had the game still been played the same way and someone was stealing signs, it would have taken care of itself between the white lines and would never have escalated to all the things that have happened today.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great story. I mean, I just know that. I mean, I haven't played baseball in a long time, and back there in 2010 and 11, we'd get with your dad, and your dad would pitch to us, and it didn't matter. He wasn't doing the leg thing like he is up there. That's that picture behind you. But
yeah,
I mean, him and Jim Sundberg would throw balls at us, and we couldn't hit them. It didn't matter if he's throwing them 50, 60 miles an hour. It doesn't matter, but it's just different at that level because, like you said, I mean, one wrong pitch, and man, it's just it's all over. And even fastballs are 90 miles an hour, and 80 miles an hour, and 100 miles. I can't even imagine trying to swing the bat, at that level. So it's difficult.
Well, and you know what else is interesting is I have had a couple conversations with AJ Hinch, and I think it's a good example, this story, for kids and people. AJ Hinch was our manager, and he wasn't the person that started this. It was really a player-led initiative. But once he found out about it, and I didn't know anything about it, I'm not in the locker room or in the dugout during the game. But once AJ found out about it, I think the regret is that he didn't raise his hand and say something about it at the time. And it's tough because, 15 we lost. We beat the Yankees in a wild card game. We lost to the Royals. 16 we had a winning record, but we didn't make the playoffs. In 17, as a manager, as a leader, as anyone in business, you start to gain the respect of your employees and your industry and the people around you, the more success you have. And so AJ came into this job. He was known for being one of the youngest managers in baseball and getting fired after a year and a half in Arizona. And I don't think he felt at the time that he had sort of the standing to tell, a veteran player, hey, cut this out. And so there's a lesson in there for all of us. And unfortunately, it cost him his job. I hope he comes back because I think he's an incredible manager. And I think, this next chance, he'll even be that much better down the road. But, good things come out of bad opportunities and situations sometimes.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I know that. How do you think that's going to? I mean, I know that even at the spring training before the pandemic, they were talking about, hey, how many hits on the bucket was the strike? Or, I mean, even at spring training this year, Astros, how long do you think that would take to get away? Or do you think the Astros, or do you think people continue to think about that for a long time? Or how are you?
I think it's when are we going to come back? I think this pandemic has thrown everyone in the world kind of into a new normal. But in the game of baseball, things roll around. I can remember in 1986 when the Mets and Astros played. Earlier in the season, the Mets had come into Houston, and 3 or 4 of their players had gone to a bar and then got in a fight with the cops, and they all got arrested. And so, that hung around those guys, but nobody remembers that today. So there are things that this will be remembered. But, with what we have going on and what we're going to have to figure out with the game is bigger than all of us, and we'll continue to move on.
Right. Okay. All right. So you think that how many games do you think we'll play this year? Major League Baseball. I mean, how many games?
I don't know, Jay. I think in a perfect world, it'd be a half a season with an extended playoff. But where we are right now, it's really going to depend on whether the Players Association and the owners can come together on some agreement for what this season would look like. There's a lot of things on the table right now because it's the last year of a collective bargaining agreement. Not to mention that every one of these cities, I just heard before I got on the call with you, Los Angeles counties, just announced a 3-month lockdown, for the whole summer. So you've got municipalities that are in different positions. You've got players that are in different positions. You've got owners that are in different positions. And the commissioner has a really tough job of negotiating with Tony Clark and keeping the 30 clubs with some type of plan in alignment to be able to get through this year. And hopefully it'll happen for all of us baseball fans.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I know it's going to be tough. And the loss of revenue, I mean, for the team, I mean, I can't believe the revenue was $20 million when you got there. And I know I don't know what it is now, and you probably
No,
can't.
no, no, not 20 million bucks. We were in the 20s in rankings of the 30 clubs. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was trying to think, man.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah.
payroll back then? But
No, no, no. We were in the 20s. So we were in the mid 20s and we went up to fifth. So it's interesting because every team in this industry is different. In baseball, you keep your regional television packages. So the Rangers and Astros share kind of a five-state region. The Rangers TV deal is more lucrative than the Astros. Um, the Phillies is, double what the Astros is. There's some teams that are, a fifth or a sixth of what some of the bigger markets are. There's other teams that draw at the gate so much better. The Tampa Bays and the Miamis of the world depend on the revenue sharing and league revenues like the national TV deals more than maybe their local TV deal or their local gate. So it's hard to have 30 teams that are all in alignment and that have all the same economics. No different than it's this. If we don't play a season, it's going to be tougher in some ways on the guy that's at minimum salary than a guy that's a veteran because he has money and he can get through these tough times. But he's also this minimum guy is losing 500,000, and these top guys could be losing 30 million if we don't play this season. So it's definitely threading a needle to try to make all this work.
yeah, well, I bet that's a ton of money around. So who generates more, the Houston Astros or the Rangers in revenue? Is it?
It's varied over the years. The last couple years, the Astros have. Um, you know, there's really kind of three groups in Major League Baseball. There's kind of the top four teams: New York, LA, Boston, Chicago. They tend to play at a whole different level. And then there's about, call it 10, 11 teams that are all very comparable: city size, market size: Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Atlanta, Philly, Chicago White Sox, Seattle, the Angels, teams like that, San Francisco Giants, kind of those type clubs. And then there's about 15 teams that are kind of some of the smaller markets around the country: the Pittsburghs, the Milwaukees, the Colorados, the Kansas Cities, Tampa, Miami, those kind of places. So the Texas teams are kind of solidly in that middle to upper half of the 30 clubs. And a lot of it depends on wins on the field. But the new stadium that the Rangers have, obviously it's hurting that they're not opening it this year, but that could be a real game changer for them, especially if they put a winning product on the field.
Yeah, yeah. So, so back then, I know the Astros and the Rockets went in and did their own broadcast deal back in 2009 or 10, maybe something like what, and that didn't work out because I'd always talked about it. And I even talked to Mark Cuban and I said, Cuban, dude, why didn't you buy the Stars? You already own the Mavericks. I said, buy the Stars, buy the Rangers, put a trifecta broadcasting deal together, and that's a whole nother segment. Because there's so much broad things and there's so much money involved in broadcasting. But what is your thought about this?
The Cliff Notes version on that is that Drake McClain and Les Alexander, the owners of the Rockets and the Astros at the time, combined their rights to go to the market to drive a higher value for their rights. And what they were able to do was have some teams bid. Have some groups bid, and they got ownership. They got a bigger ownership stake in the network. Unfortunately, if you don't have the distribution, it doesn't matter how good your content is. And Comcast controlled the distribution because they were the partner they chose. And they never came through with the distribution, eventually ran the network into bankruptcy. And originally, we're going to try to buy it out of bankruptcy. So it's big boy business. It's billions of dollars. Live programming for sports is still very profitable. But if you don't have the vehicle or the subs, that's who has the power right now. It's kind of like the old days, like the quail hunt. Back in the day, the landowners had all the power. Then it became, the bird guides had all the power.
Right.
And so it kind of depends on where you are. At this point, the guys that control the distribution have the power. But as we transition to direct to consumer, streaming right to people's phones and tablets and their smart TVs, that power is really going to go back to the teams. The issue is that we have a long transition period where, in essence, you have these long contracts, and then two, anything at national is revenue sharing. So that model is going to have to be addressed one day in the future with, between the big boys of the Yankees and Dodgers and Red Sox and the small guys, because we do have some type of revenue sharing with the national money right now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I know we get to wrap this thing up. You got another
call.
I
got to run.
Yeah. So I want to say, how often do you spend time with your parents and your siblings and their families? Are you spending every week? Do you talk to your dad once a year, or how often?
Yeah.
Answers. I'm just kind of.
So we're a very close family. I talk to my brother probably every day. I talk to my dad probably every other day. I see them multiple times a month. We are in family business together. Even though I'm in Houston and have been here with the Astros, we own Nolan Ryan Beef, which you can buy at Kroger in Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex or Houston area. We're in the banking business. We've got a community bank called R Bank, like the letter R for Ryan. We have a Fort Worth branch. We've got 9 branches in the Central Texas area. We are involved in real estate and kind of have a family partnership that we do deals and make investments in. We have the baseball team. And so we're very, very involved in a lot of stuff together. And it's fun to work with your family, especially when you have a real relationship with all of them.
Yeah, and y'all go to the ranch a lot, I know. And
we do. We love being at the ranch. And my kids and my brother's kids all get along great, similar ages. And then my sister's got a younger set of kids. And we love having those kiddos around. And she lives up in Amarillo and a little bit further than the 2.5 hours between Austin and Houston. But we love having Wendy and her crew around as well.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I know. I mean, I was thinking about the story about your dad telling Wendy, early on, don't marry a baseball player or anybody from California, or anything like that. And,
Good advice. Good advice.
I tell you what, I mean, your dad, last time I saw him at an Astros game, there was about 20 of us different owners, and he would just go down one by one and just every person telling the updated story about him, and it was just really, really great to get with him. And I need for him to come on the Jay Young show. I mean, we need to get him on here sometime.
We can figure it out. Let me see if I can get that done for you. Okay, that'll be a tall task. So let me see. He's technology challenged at times.
I know. We'll figure it out. I'll have somebody take an iPhone over there and go, okay, here you go. Just talk, Nolan. That's all you got to do. And of course, everybody knows his voice and all. But I tell you what, I know we need to wrap this up. I want to thank you so much, Reid, for being on the show. It's been an incredible experience, and also I really loved your story about the sign stealing scandal and all that. I mean, it's a great story. I mean, you're right. I mean, the linebacker, quarterback, what's the difference in that? And it's just so advanced now, and a lot of people admitted their mistakes, and hey, we move on, right? I mean, we just got to move on, and the game goes on, and life goes on.
Well, I'm a TCU guy, but now I know what it felt like to be SMU back in the death penalty days. So I have a lot of empathy for those guys.
Man, I tell you what, unbelievable. Well, hey, like I've said before, I admire you a lot about your family and about your wife and your kids, and also your whole family. It's been a great experience getting to know you and got to know you a little bit more about you right now today, and I appreciate that. And man, until the next time, let's touch base next week, and hey, let's go to a baseball game. I'm ready to come down and go to a game with you. Hey, that was Reid Ryan. Well, what a great guest. What a great guest. Did he carry his weight? I mean, that was really, really good. And Jordan, your thoughts, and just, don't you think he's just a great guy?
It's just one of those conversations where you really get that reminder that legacy isn't just something that you inherit, it's something that you build. So, baseball, business, family, success, it just comes from that discipline, the humility, and putting in the work day after day.
Yeah.
And I really felt like that conversation really encapsulated all of those things.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I've been around Reid a few times, and we went to they invited me to go to, me and my wife Michelle, to go to an event at the Rangers ballpark right before the season started, and so this was a couple of years ago, and Reid invited us, and then Reid said, "Hey Jay, come on, let's go over here," or whatever, and so we were walking around the whole event, and it was like 50, 60 tables set up. It was a big auction. They were auctioning off items and doing all this stuff. And Reid, if there wasn't 10 people, I'd be surprised if there wasn't at least 10 people that worked in the organization somewhere. If they were a security guard, or they worked at the front door, or they worked wherever, Reid Ryan said their name and shook their hand and asked them about their wife or mother or something. I mean, there was something. It's like, most people in that position, my dad's Nolan Ryan, you know what I'm saying? My dad's Nolan Ryan. I'm gonna walk around like, I'm it, right? And here's Reid. His dad is really Nolan Ryan, and he's walking around like, "Hey, Jess, how you doing? What's going on? How's your brother doing, or how's your kids, or how's your blah?" I mean, it's like he knew the names of all these different people. It took us
really
about
important.
Oh,
as a leader,
as
it's
a
so
leader,
important.
100%.
Yeah.
No wonder they won the World
That's the difference
Series.
between somebody who's just like entitled in a position and somebody who's actually a leader and blossoming in leadership. Like that really does, I think, make a big difference.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's unbelievable, and I'm really glad that I'm really glad that I walked around with him, because it took us forever. It took us forever to do whatever we were doing, but I tell you what, I mean, it really made me think about somebody that has a lot going for him, and here's Reid, walking around talking to everybody, and he's just as happy, and how those people feel. I mean, they feel like $100 million.
I will say, Jay, you're one of those people too. Like walking around with you whenever we were at NAPE last year, or wherever we go, whatever conference we go to, we've been to many Heart conferences together. It was just like, we walk around and it takes you forever to get off of the floor, because everyone, you're talking with them, what's going on with their families and stuff, and it really does set you apart as a leader.
Well, I appreciate that, Jordan. Did somebody pay you to say that? Come on,
no.
Come on. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I do, and it's because I'm old. That's the only reason why I know a lot of people.
Oh my
it's
God!
Because I'm
no.
older. No, I appreciate you saying that. But it really is, and I learned from Reid. That's who I learned from, right?
Really? Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
I like listening to some of the interviews from Billy Bob Thornton on Landman, talking about, hey, what's important to you, and he said, you know what, if somebody asks me a question, he said, I stop right there and answer their question and ask them how they're doing. He said, even though I'm Billy Bob, no, he didn't say that, but I'm just thinking, man, you're Billy Bob Thornton. You don't have to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, man, they paid for my kids' education. He said, I'm going to stop and talk to them and give them, I'm going to give them the answers that they want, But it's really great that he does that. I really, really think that's important. And it's
absolutely.
It's just like God's way, and that's what God wants you to do. He didn't want you to, just look down on people or put your nose up at people. He wants you to appreciate people.
No, not ever good to be arrogant.
Yeah, exactly. All right, good. Let's get to some of the oil and gas news. We talk about the investment climate right now, and we talk about what's going on with the big, beautiful bill, the tax write-offs, and there's a lot of tax write-offs going on with the oil and gas, and being able to write it off and all that. And one of the things that we did to make it clear, or make it clearer, I guess, and what we do, it's kind of like we have a fund, and we put 20,000 acres We put 20,000 acres into our fund that we lease. We lease 20,000 acres. And then we raise $75 million. So we raise $75 million in equity, right? We'd raise $75 million. We lease 20,000 acres, which is enough acreage to drill 60 wells. We're going to drill 20 horizontal wells with the money. Now, we're going to drill 10 up front. With the $75 million, we're going to drill 10 horizontal wells, and then we're going to lease the 20,000 acres, and we're going to create assets within this 20,000 acres. Let's say it's 20,000 acres in an area. And then what we do is we take that, and then we go to a credit facility and say, okay, we need some more money to go drill some more wells. And they say, hey, what do you have as collateral? We say, well, we just drilled 10 wells with the $75 million. We can use that as collateral to go drill 10 more wells. And then we go drill 10 more wells, and then we sell it for $300 million. All right, now let's go back through this again. I know, $300 million. We're gonna.
I know. You saw the eyebrows
Whoa,
raise. I said, oh.
Hey, now, hey,
hey, that's a big number right there.
Big number. I love it because it is a simple plan, and if investors would look at the plans that King Operating and some of the other people have, we're different. We're looking at this. So we have several funds that are going to participate in this project, but it's like we have in a fund we have we raised $75 million in equity. We put 20,000 acres that we lease in an area that has 3D seismic. We've got well control. We have all the things necessary. The geologists have signed off on it. And then we raise the $75 million. We drill 10 wells with the $75 million. And then we also go borrow money in the future, borrow another $60 to $70 million to go drill 10 more wells. So we got $40 million in it. And then we sell it for $300 million in 3 years. So that's kind of how we do business. If another company that you're doing business with, all you're going to do is say, they're going to go, okay, put in $200,000 here. You can save it on your taxes. You put $200,000 in. All they're going to do is you're going to participate on a couple of wells, whatever, and you may or may not get your money back over time. But that's it. You drill 2 wells, you get income for as long as those wells produce. That's it. There is no upside. That's why I wrote the book called The Upside of Oil and Gas Investing. It's around here somewhere. But it's called The Upside. It's called The Upside of Oil and Gas Investing. And that's what I think, that's what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get out there and I'm not only trying to tell investors about it, but I'm also trying to get all these other guys that are promoting deals out and trying to get them to change their business plan because I'm tired of the investor getting the shaft, and that's what they're getting. You know?
No, it's really an important thing. I mean, especially as people are going into this next year and they're looking for tax write-offs or they're looking for, things like you said that have the upside of oil and gas. I think it's really important for them to look into King Operating because the way you guys are operating is different than other companies. And I think also it's really important to look at organizations like yours where you are really involved and you care about the outcome. A lot of companies are just looking for people to give them money and then they don't really care afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We'll go drill a couple of wells. We'll see if they hit. If they hit, they don't. Right. Then we'll go drill. Then we'll go sell the next deal because they're making so much money on the front end that they don't really look at the back end or they don't look at a plan. And that's why I was talking to somebody the other day and this guy goes, oh no, this guy's been in the business 40 years. Right. And I go, okay, what's his plan? And he didn't tell me what his plan was. So I'm like, this guy's promoting deals out just like he was back when he was 20 years old. It's been 40 years. He's still promoting deals out. He's still not doing anything different. He needs to do something different. Tell me what he's doing different, and I'll tell you whether or not you should invest in this guy. But unless you're building a business, unless you're building a $300 million business or $1 billion, the Bivens Ranch that we have that we've talked about, a few times on the show, the Bivens Ranch is a 60,000 acre ranch in Amarillo, near Amarillo, 60,000 acre ranch we're going to put a lot of money into that. We're putting a lot of money now into that project, like $60 million, and we're going to continue putting more money in it and more money in it, more money in it until we want to sell it, and we feel like we could sell that for $300 million or more, even $1 billion. Even $1 billion. We could sell it for a lot of money in the future, and our clients get some great benefits on that. So the Bivens Ranch, we already have the equity for it. We're done there. We need equity for Mid-Continent, the Mid-Continent, which is the area up in the Panhandle. We're going to drill some more wells up there and get some more acreage together. And then as soon as we do, then we'll say, okay, now we're good. Now let's put this into let's find the next project. So I'm excited for clients. I really am. I think it's just an incredible opportunity for them. So I'm excited. What's next? What do you want to talk about next? The Jay's Weekly 5?
Well, I think so. I mean, either that or we can talk about a little bit of M&A action, but I'm always down for the Weekly 5 too.
Let's see what this major oil and gas companies remain in strategic deals. Harbor Energy agreed to acquire LLOG Exploration for $3.2 billion. There's always going to be deals out there, and that's what we're trying to get over, is trying to create these billion-dollar assets for these public companies, because they're always looking to buy. Always looking to buy assets, and they're looking for them. So that's incredible. All right, now let's go to the Weekly 5. I think we need a bell or something. Don't we need a bell?
Oh, we do.
Need or something, or just maybe some music or something to talk about the Weekly 5, because this is a very, very important part of the week where we talk about our 5 things. And I thought there was 6 because I was thinking about one more. But let's go over the Weekly 5. Momentum. My favorite word of the week, matter of fact, it goes from our finance lady, Deanne. But Deanne said, hey, momentum. Momentum. I love momentum. And if anybody's ever been to a basketball game or a volleyball game or a football or whatever, you've heard momentum. Right now, we've got a lot of momentum behind us. Our Bivens Ranch is coming in. We're producing 800 barrels a day, 1.8, 1.9 million cubic feet of gas. A lot of momentum behind that, a lot of momentum. So I love the word momentum. My Bible verse of the week, it's Philippians 3:13 and 14. Forgetting what is behind and straining forward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal. That's what you think about with momentum. You don't think about the past. You don't think about what's going on or what you've done in the past or talk about it or you think about the future. How can we look at the future better instead of looking at the past and thinking, how mad I was that I heard somebody the other night say something about, hey, this lady was on, I don't know, somewhere. She's a comedian, and she said, I like wine. I like wine. And she said, I think that's an okay thing that I like wine. She goes, because I like to get mad at my husband for the same thing that he did 6 years ago. So it's like he did something 6 years ago. She wants to get mad at him again, and she uses wine for that reason. So I think that's what people do. They look at the past, but we don't need to do that. Books we are reading or recommend, and I got a book yesterday from the church, and it talks about gospel patrons. People whose generosity changed the world, a great reminder that impact and influence often come through quiet stewardship and generosity. I was also listening to, I know we mentioned last week, my daughter's going to OU, Oklahoma University, Boomer Sooner, and I listened to Curtis Mewborn, who's an incredible, philanthropist. He's passed now, but he was a great contributor to OU and OU Energy, and his company is, I'd like to be just like him one of these days, an incredible individual, and his generosity was unfounded. Go to his website, mewborn.com, and listen to that, but also just think about it for a second. That was his legacy and how much money he gave to not only All Saints in Tyler, Texas high school, but also to OU, and thinking about what can he do for other people. And I love that. I'd much rather give, I don't need anything. I told my kids, my wife, I said, hey, don't, man, put something in my name. Give it to somebody that really needs it. You know, one of our golf pros' daughter was born at 24 weeks. Let's go back here. Okay, 24 weeks their daughter was born. 3 months before due. I reached out yesterday and I said, hey, how can I get you some money? Venmo money. Why am I going to sit here and think about what do I need? It's not what I need. I don't need anything. Man, God's been great to me. What I need to do is make sure that I give something to somebody else. And so I reached out, made sure that, hey, I'm going to make sure this family that is going through this, you know, it's not easy for a family, not easy for a couple, have a baby at 24 weeks. You know, a lot of money. They got to eat every day. They got to still eat 2-3 meals a day, and they got bills piling up, and they're not in professions that are paying them a tremendous amount of money, and they're great people. So I'm gonna make sure I take care of them.
It's not something to just invest in the holiday season, because when you are in an environment where you're giving back and stepping into that selflessness, it's really an impactful thing that does shape leadership. It does shape perspective, and it's worth doing all year round, not just in holiday season. But I do agree with you as well. If you're going to give back to people who are in need, invest in organizations that have the infrastructure to help those people. Like I'm a big advocate for Catholic Charities. I think that they do an amazing job investing in helping people have the resources and the foundational elements so that they can then prosper. But I think that those things are really important to invest in.
A good friend of mine in San Diego said one time, he goes, Jay, my goal is to give away $1 million a year. I want to give away $1 million a year, he said, to good organizations that need the money. And I thought that was always a great goal. Now, I mean, I'm not nowhere close to that, but I'm like, man, I want to give money. I want to try to give as much as I can, you know, without Michelle getting too mad at me. But, hey, here's one over here. Hey, one over here too. You know, but
you get a donation. You get a donation. You get a donation.
Michelle's like, anyway,
but
put on your credit card if you have to, Michelle. It doesn't matter to me, but let's give it.
I don't see it anyway.
But, you know,
but the book I'm reading right now is Chop Wood, Carry Water. It's by Joshua Medcalf, and you know, this is one of those books where you just kind of fall in love with the process of becoming great, which is what the book is all about. It's a leadership book. It's a quick read. Each chapter provides a really powerful lesson. And it's about this guy who is on this journey to become a samurai warrior, specifically an archer. So he travels to Japan, he enrolls as an apprentice, and then he meets a friendly old sensei. And it's a great read. I definitely recommend picking it up and reading it for sure. Yeah,
that's great. That's great. I heard about that book. I heard about it. I think somebody sent it to me, and I need to look at it again, but to make sure that.
Well, I think Laura's reading it.
Is she? Okay, good. Maybe she's the one that gave it.
Your marketing director. She was the one who recommended it to me, and great read.
I need to. I have it, so I need to look at it for sure, definitely. Okay, what are we watching right now? TV shows we're watching: Yellowstone. Leadership, legacy. I love that. That's just my kind of tea right there. That's kind of how I grew up. Was Yellowstone. Between Yellowstone and Landman is kind of how I grew up thinking about all this stuff. But it definitely a leadership, legacy, and long-term thinking under pressure. So I love that. I love that show. I thought it was really, really good. I want to go back and watch it again because I know there's a lot of things that I missed in it. So. What about you?
I'm watching Suits right now. Love the show. I've already watched it. I'm rewatching it. It's fun. It's fast paced. It's a lot of details. I actually, like, whenever I was in college and graduating or about to graduate, I was a file clerk at a law firm. And while it was not the New York high scale situation like Suits is, there were a lot of things where I was like, oh yeah, you do have to do that. Blah, blah, blah. It's not as, I don't know, it was exciting because there was always something. There's always lots of details and file management and things like that. But Of course, as dramas do, there's not as much drama as Suits had,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
You gotta have a TV show. I mean, but
You
I'm
gotta
sure
have the drama.
Yeah. Definitely it's just like Landman. I mean, Landman, there's a lot of
Mhm.
stuff in it that I can understand and I see,
Yeah.
and it's like they multiplied it times 3, 4, 5. But
Yes.
it's got to be Hollywoodish, or it wouldn't have how many
Right, or
seasons?
it wouldn't get traction,
Exactly.
And now they brought it back. Now there's like Suits LA or something like that.
Oh, is there really? Okay, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
they brought the show back. I think it I don't know if it was TikTok or Instagram or something made it popular again, and then they were like, you know what? Let's do a spin-off series in LA.
You mean tell you what?
Okay.
What's amazing, absolutely amazing. It's like how much money these shows are making. How much money these it's like Netflix. And I think we talked about this last week, right? It's like they have how many different subscribers? They have 300 million, or let's just say if they have 30 million at $10, they're making $300 million a month.
Well, it's 15 now.
$15? Yeah, okay. There's $45 million a month. Or 45, I'm sorry, not. Yeah. That's $450 million a month in revenue. $450 million a month
Boy.
I know.
That's a good model. And you know what's crazy is that they wanted to work with Blockbuster, and Blockbuster was like, "Nah, we don't need you. You're not the future."
Yeah.
And now look at them.
Blockbuster's in the trash can.
Blockbuster be busted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, open the trash can
what
up.
podcast? Exactly. There's
Wow.
the dumpster fire. It's Blockbuster.
Unbelievable.
But what about the podcast? What podcast are you listening to?
The Diary of a CEO. I love it. It says honest
Such a good
conversations
one.
about growth, failure, and what it really takes to keep moving forward. It's kind of like A&M volleyball. It's kind of like the people there at A&M volleyball. It's like the entrepreneurs, CEOs. We don't give up. If we have bills, we got to pay them. I mean, it's like there's a never-ending thing there. We're going to get this job done. It's kind of like the third. It's kind of like the third giraffe trying to get on the Noah's Ark. They're only going to take 2 on Noah's Ark,
Right.
And the third one is trying his best to get on that boat and fails. But it's like the fight in between 3 of them to get on. That's what kind of resilience is, and that's what I like about this. This is really, really good, and I love the podcast.
Yeah, I'm listening right now to the All In podcast. It's about
All In.
business markets, leadership, and it's from people who create momentum rather than wait for it. And that's something that I'm a big advocate for. I am an advocate for proactive momentum building through sustainable and scalable strategies. And I think that is something that every entrepreneur needs to keep in their mind. What is scalable, and how can I make it sustainable growth?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, it's very true. And it's like you got to find your plan. And then once you find your plan, it's kind of like us. I mean, we're finding 20,000 acres. We're going to find the place to drill 60 wells. We're going to drill 20 wells, create 40 PUDs, and sell it for $300 million. It's not a hard business plan. Now, that's a business plan, but it's going to be a tough. You got to find 20,000 acres. You got to find the geologists that can drill the 20,000 that they like it. That there's a lot more layers to it. But once you get your plan down and you get people that are successful in each phase, it's great. Great for you. Great for everybody. So I'm really pumped up about that. Great. I want to hear more about that one for sure. So thanks everybody for listening to the Jay Young Show. We've got, be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcast, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Watch full episodes on YouTube and Rumble. We got that going. We're also on, we just did some stuff on Newsmax, and we've done some radio.
Oh, cool.
We've done some radio
we
stuff.
have three radio shows: Monterey, Houston, and San Diego.
San Diego, that's right, exactly, 100%. So we're getting more popular, and we love our message, and we love for you to tell us what you want to hear and what you like and don't like about the program. There is no ego around here. We listen, and we do want to.
I have a little bit of an everybody has a little
But hey, you know what?
Everybody has a little bit.
It's all about getting better, and we want to bring you
Yes.
we want to bring you entertainment. We want to bring you things that your 16 to 22-year-old kid can learn, because it's a tough business out there. But you know what? If we can teach you something every episode, there's one or two things that you take away from this and somebody learns from it, man, I feel like my job's done. So thank you very much for being here. Jay Young again with my co-host Jordan Soto, and we'll see you back here next week. Thank you.